Welcome. We continue with our fifth week, looking at 7 Spiritual Gifts of Waiting by Holly Whitcomb. Today we look at the 5th gift of waiting, gratitude. Again, a reminder that the words are the author's, not my own, but we give thanks for her wisdom. I hate waiting in line at the grocery store, but sometimes I see my full cart, and I am grateful I can afford this food. When I think of the people whom this food will feed, I am grateful for my family and the companionship at our table. Waiting can give us unexpected moments to be grateful for everything that is peaceful or lovely or running smoothly, the small things we may not have noticed before. Waiting can inspire us to look around carefully and to observe what's there. Yes, we are waiting, but look at all these people who are offering help. Yes, we are waiting, but aren't we lucky we're going through this now rather than 10 years ago? Waiting teaches us to appreciate those pieces of our lives that have gracefully fallen into place. Waiting teaches us gratitude. If the only prayer you say in your entire life is thank you, that would suffice. That comes from Meister Eckhart, a German mystic who lived from 1260 to 1329. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you, and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." The Beatitudes, Matthew 5, 1 through 12. A number of years ago, I was sharing with a friend that I was going through a period of feeling blue, of feeling depressed. I told my friend I was usually a very enthusiastic, positive person, and that this depression was awkward and uncomfortable and was wearing me down. Much to my amazement, my friend asked me, "Can you look at this period of depression as a messenger who is trying to tell you something? Can you regard this depression as a gift from which you might gain some new understanding or some new insight?" Given the way I was feeling, it was very hard to imagine depression as a positive messenger, or even more ludicrously as a gift. I had always regarded depression as something to be warded off at all costs. I went home that day and asked myself if there were a possibility that I could look at this depression differently. Was this an opportunity for me to change something, an opportunity to grow? I thought of Christina Baldwin's great line, "Life is a great unending opportunity to see things differently, to keep reframing disaster and discouragement into faith." It got me thinking about reframing. Our living room walls are covered with pictures. These are not ordinary pictures, but framed mementos from all over the world. Wondrous but simple handmade items purchased at little cost. In our collection is a small 100-year-old quilt bought on the streets of New Delhi, a 98-cent clay necklace from a bazaar in Mexico, a carved wooden fan from Beijing. For years, I've taken my foreign excursion treasures over to Ed at You Frame It. Ed is a master reframer. He eyeballs a piece and instantly sees it transformed. He imagines the frame color, the matte color, ascertains whether it should be double matted and what the dimensions of the shadow box should be. Presto, the 98-cent clay necklace becomes a masterpiece. I'm always amazed. Framed and shadow-boxed, these beloved collectibles look as if they could be hanging in a museum. In the Beatitudes, Jesus offers us the chance to be in the reframing business. Many of the persons described in the Beatitudes, says well-known preacher Fred Craddock, are victims, to be sure, but the Beatitudes delivers them from a victim mentality. The Beatitudes invite us to see blessedness even in the midst of tumult and suffering. They invite us not to be trapped by circumstances, but to look for the grace, to find the possibilities, to explore the edges for growth. The ultimate example of reframing is the Easter story. For what are the Beatitudes about if not seeing resurrection in the midst of crucifixion? Is there any greater example of reframing than Jesus' transformation from tortured death to empty tomb? Each time we read the Beatitudes, they encourage us to live as people who believe in Easter, as reframers of life. If the ultimate reframe is Easter, perhaps the most mundane reframe is waiting. But the Beatitudes teach us that we are blessed in our waiting, because it is then that we have the opportunity to see with new eyes, to count our blessings. I do not believe that God clobbers us over the head with suffering or waiting, so we'll learn from them. But I do believe God blesses us with insight when life circumstances put us on hold. The next time you are feeling blocked by waiting, stand back a little from your victimizing circumstances and try looking at the picture with new eyes. Reframe it and see what you can come up with. Try using the Beatitude methodology to be grateful in all things, including your waiting. Ask, what opportunities for new understanding, for growth, are available to me? What am I grateful for, even in these tough times? Gratitude opens our eyes to the blessings of small things. The feeling of gratitude is a shy bird. Chasing it does no good. Genuine gratitude can never be forced. Trying hard to feel gratitude is like trying hard to fall asleep or fall in love. The harder you try to be grateful, the more elusive the experience becomes. It must come to you on its own schedule and on its own terms. You practice gratitude by carefully building a home in your heart to accommodate it. The bird does not always come, but if you make a home for it, it comes often enough. That is from Timothy Miller. How to want what you have. When we are waiting, we are vulnerable, and our hearts are open. And therein lies the gift. Our open hearts teach us to notice the blessings of small things we would never have noticed before. In our fragility and brokenness, little things become a lifeline. The food a neighbor brings to the door, a peaceful sit in a lilac-filled park, a gentle touch of understanding, a homemade card of a child. Needing all the emotional help we can get, we notice all those small things that sustain us while we wait. For 13 years, I have been attending and sometimes leading a women's spirituality program at my church called Sister Space. I look forward to gathering with friends and talking about the joys and struggles of our lives. Over the years, it has become a tradition at Sister Space to go around the circle and share what we have come to call our miracles. This periodic review offers all of us a chance to ask ourselves, what were the large or small events in my life during the past week that seemed truly miraculous to me? Sometimes people's answers are big and dramatic. A loved one's life has been saved, or medical tests have come back blessedly negative for the presence of disease. But at other times, answers are small, and at first hearing, almost insignificant. A crocus is blooming on the front step after an interminably long winter. Or the finch is building her nest once again in the same place above the garage. Most of all, this time of sharing miracles has taught each of us to look at life through the lens of gratitude, appreciating the small things, taking nothing for granted. Waiting offers us a unique time to make a home in our hearts for gratitude. As with any spiritual discipline, however, gratitude takes practice. Here are some practices that have helped me learn to live as a grateful person. List your sources of abundance, perhaps your health, your family, your training, your experience, your home, etc. Think over the past year. Make a list of your answered prayers. Ask this question every night. For what do I give thanks today? And finally, practice finding instead of seeking. We seem obsessed with more and more, continually seeking more knowledge, seeking a larger stockpile of material things, seeking a greater accumulation of exotic and stimulating experiences. Let your times of waiting help you take a little rest from constant and worrisome seeking. Think of the book title of the quote at the beginning of this section, How to Want What You Have. Reflect on the meaning of those words. Let waiting help you reflect with gratitude on what you have. Finally, I share a prayer. I thank thee, God, that I have lived in this great world and known its many joys, the song of the birds, the strong sweet scent of hay, and cooling breezes in the secret dusk, the flaming sunsets at the close of day, hills and the lonely heather-covered moors, music at night and moonlight on the sea, the beat of waves upon the rocky shore, and wild white spray flung high in ecstasy, the faithful eyes of dogs and treasured books, the love of kin and fellowship of friends, and all that makes life dear and beautiful. I thank thee, too, that there has come to me a little sorrow and sometimes defeat, a little heartache, and the loneliness that comes with parting and the word goodbye. Dawn breaking after dreary hours of pain, when I discovered that night's gloom must yield, and morning light break through to me again. Because of these and other blessings poured, unasked upon my wondering head, because I know that there is yet to come an even richer and more glorious life, and most of all because thine only Son once sacrificed life's loveliness for me, I thank thee, God, that I have lived. This was written by Elizabeth, Countess of Craven, England. She lived from 1750 to 1828. Perhaps reflect on that prayer of thanksgiving and think about all that you hold precious. Maybe even consider writing your own prayer of thanksgiving. And now, thank you for your attention. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord's face shine on you with grace and mercy. May the Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. Amen.